So look at this behavior, some type of glitch. I think it's in relation to the motherboard. I'm already been having issues, and this is a brand new motherboard with only less than a few months of usage. Okay, there goes the disturbing signs of the video graphics card. I mean, it's not even that old, it's actually pretty new still. Not even so much usage, and for it to just come to a complete ruin, it's really a bad side of Dell. I don't know why they still sell this. Even on eBay, why they still have this terrible motherboard. I only got it because I wanted to try it for its true originality and the true chassis of, you know, maxing out the Dell XPS m1210. But when I got my machine, I didn't know too much about computers, but I got the one that's opposite of the Gamers Edition, and this one runs just perfect. But I'm not using it so often because,
you know, it recently caught a virus.
But right now it's working. It's actually, I'm using this guy here because he has a lot of RAM available and more hard disk space and so forth. Okay, start Windows normally. But luckily today we have the kit for this. I mean, right now it's in a loop, but eventually I could get out of this loop, and you know, that's what people don't know. And then you could get it to run again much effectively. But right here I got the actual paper of the delivery, and this is the integrated, I don't know if it, yeah, there you go, Dell XPS laptop motherboard S478 GUO59. And this motherboard over here doesn't consist of the more video memory. This is actually the one that's behind me. This is how I started 11 years ago with this. And to be honest, that one actually, I think the issue with that one, I mean, I didn't really have too much issues, but I remember that the AC, whenever you would plug it in, it wouldn't read it. And you know how they do stuff over here. Instead of resoldering that piece from the back and putting on that other little piece, the outlet or the RCA, resoldering that part to the AC and, you know, correcting that fix and not changing the whole motherboard. But since they had warranty and it was, you know, an expensive laptop, I took advantage of the warranty and they changed the whole motherboard. And when they changed the whole motherboard to the same one that integrated with the, I think it's 8 megabytes of memory, video memory, well, it's been lasting about, I'll say, if it's about what, 11, 12 year computer, took away a year and a half, 2. Well, no, about a year, about 10 years to 11 years without me not having no more issues. So, and this is right here problematic, as you can tell, look. And this is a brand new maxed out Dell XPS m1210. It shouldn't be doing this, man. This is my backup machine. It has no camera, but it has maxed out T7600 intercore dual. Actually, I was reading something about that you can put a T7600G overclockable turbo, and I wanted to verify that. I don't know if it consists of micro dotting, but I wouldn't know too much of that. But yeah, in this video I'm gonna go ahead and showcase the removing the motherboard and putting in the replacement motherboard with less video memory, but integrated. It's a discrete Intel, integrated Intel chip, as opposed to the 7400 Go, the 7400 Go Get Force, whatever you call it, crap. The 7400 Get Go, Get Force, nvidia video card, which is really problematic. They should have just fixed that. Someone goes into the BIOS so I could show you. And as you're watching this live, I'm gonna show you so 2.33 gigahertz frequency, the fastest processor, maxed out RAM, which is 4 gigabyte RAM, and like I was saying, this one is 64 megabytes. So I wanted to, you know, take advantage of the maxed out True Gamers Edition motherboard, but that was a big mistake because you look at the streaks, the video card's already messing up, and it's still pretty new. Audio control, Sigma-Tel 9220. We're looking for the nvidia GeForce Go. I always forget this, the name to this. GeForce Go 7400 nvidia. Supposedly this was like the maxed out version. Of course I have a small hard drive, and I already ordered a second caddy, just like the one behind me. That one has 1 terabyte with 2 similar 500 gigabyte hard drives. And none of these have no solid state drive, so that's the interesting part of my whole video, that I'm actually gonna try out solid state drive for the first time. It's just that, you know, those are very expensive drives. Excuse me. But yeah, remember this. We're gonna replace this, and I know it works, you know, but for some reason right now it's not working. But out of this loop, eventually, if I leave it alone and get out of here, or if I go F12 and let it reanalyze itself, everything shows that there's nothing wrong with the video. There's no issues, no hardware problems, but yet, and look what we're encountering. So I mean, it makes no sense. Why would the engineers, you know, allow this, whether it be the Dell people or nvidia, separate identities or whatever? But look, this is just a sign of the maxed out, supposedly the best motherboard you can get for the Dell XPS m1210 Gamers Edition, which is a classical. As you can tell, the one behind me works perfect. I just haven't booted up. But yeah, I guess I'll re-edit the video and start adding the other parts to it once. But I'm gonna try to get as much done and show you the live version of me, not every step by step, but me changing the motherboard. I'm gonna break it down into little parts. The easiest way you can do this, it's so easy. Okay, after you take apart the bolts, there's one up here, these, then the little fan, you disconnect this little guy, then you disconnect this little guy, and if I'm not mistaken, I think there's one more right there. And then you remove the motherboard. And then you remove this heatsink core. You remove this guy here, and you get the other one, the appropriate one. The other one is for the other motherboard, and I have it over here, but I'll put it on in a little bit. Well, let me go ahead and pause this and do the next video. Okay, so the motherboard comes off. Like I said, there's a corner clip over here, one right there, and there's another one over here. You gotta be careful too. You gotta take off the audio card, which is this guy right here. It's only 2 bolts, and then the top tiny little diminutive bolt that holds on to this little guy here. Excuse me. And I was looking at it, I mean, it's still pretty new. I don't know why it would just mess up so quick, but according to the way it was manufactured, it's something about right here, it desolders itself. But it's very problematic. I will never recommend you buying this because it won't even last. It's not even worth it. Can't even believe they sold this on eBay. It's not even worth it, man. And I take care of my equipment. I mean, this is new. For the little time that I used it, it wasn't even worth. I only made like 1 or 2 loops. I made 1 progressive house loop and a few other little samples here and there. And I don't even think this is worth even buying it. But I wanted to compare this motherboard with the one that's up here, with the one less video memory. Because this is the nvidia Get-Go 7400 Get-Go Force or whatever you call it, and that's it right there. It says nvidia. This little crap right here was made really bad. But after this, let's get it going. Okay, so after comparing both motherboards, this is the best motherboard. Notice how there isn't anything here. There goes the nvidia problematic video card that desolders itself and it causes major issues. Everything will go down the drain really bad. This has a 64 megabyte video memory for the True Gamers Edition platform. This is the one that's behind me right here, but he works perfect. So there's nothing there. There it goes right there. And then look at the MOSFET, the CMOS. Well, the other one's over here somewhere. Oh, it's up there. It's a little black and red. I guess this would be for parts, or to study it, or have somebody try to, I don't know, try to build something special to make sure they do something right here, the solution, to make sure they solder it, or they add something else, I don't know, a copper panel, and see if that works. Maybe we're going to try to customize this board, because it's new. But let's put this back. Once again, there isn't anything in this little square, the nvidia chip. And over here, it's empty. So, nvidia, it's empty, because this is integrated. So, we're going to put it up. Oh, excuse me. We're going to put that up. And we're going to install this right now. Installing the motherboard. Okay, so after you put in the new motherboard, it sits rather easily. Then you clip this little guy over here. And then you clip this one, the bottom one, not the top one, the bottom one, while you leave this intact. It goes in pretty easy. After this, it's really simple. Then you put back the interface, the audio interface, hardware, whatever. Well, this is the hardware, the motherboard. But we add the rest of the pieces. Let's go ahead and continue forward with the installation of the motherboard. Okay, so you put this guy, you line it up with this little groove right there, and right below it is a little harness, a little white harness, and it clips in there. And you put the little bolt, which is, where did I leave it at? I think it's this one right here. You put this little guy. Oh, almost messed up the video. So put this little buddy right there, and he's tying it up. Those 2 bolts were already put in here. Okay. So you bring in the little fan and you clip it here, and there's a bolt up here. See, then you line it up. I don't have this bolt, but there's this bolt, so it's gonna keep it in place. Not 100% secure, but it's gonna keep it in place because it's a long bolt. That's clipped in. I already put the processor. I'm tying it, because then I bring in the heat sink core from the original machine from this one. I bought it new. I might have to go open it right now. And we're gonna put it in. Here's the correct heat sink. I just unpacked it from the package, which is over here. And now we're gonna put this guy, the correct heat sink, in there with the correct motherboard. And that's the next step. And then you put in the disk drive. Let's continue. Okay, once you put in the heatsink core, make sure you tighten it. The numbers show you the pattern. I think it changed from this one to the other motherboard. Then you put this. However, I don't have the bolt, but it does interface correctly, so it goes in. And after this, you put this guy, and then the rest of the bolts, which are laying everywhere. There's the old hard drive with the old system, Microsoft Windows Vista. 64-bit. Let's go continue forward with the installation of the motherboard, the replacement motherboard. Okay, once computer's assembled, it needs the battery, and I'm gonna give it actual current plus the battery. Battery's right here. Put everything together. There's the old drive. We're gonna put this solid state drive. We're just gonna put it in there and see if it boots, because a few things could possibly have went wrong. The memory, the RAM sticks. When I got those new, I had problem after problem, like 6, 7 several times for it to be boot it correctly, because supposedly those memory RAM sticks weren't sitting correctly. So that's could be another issue, but hopefully we did this right and we could take advantage of the solid state drive. This could be the first time I get into the solid state drive domain. This is 120 gigabyte. Never even heard of this brand, but I just went ahead and got it because it was affordable. But we'll see what happens. So seems like a successful installation, including the RAM sticks, because it didn't say nothing about memory RAM not being seated correctly. So we know we did a successful motherboard, because we went to the BIOS right now. We're looking at it clearly, and it shows the new motherboard, which is the Intel 945GM graphics Dell integrated motherboard, as opposed to the terrible 7400 Gecko Force nvidia. The other one was a 64 megabyte video memory, and this is an 8 megabyte video memory. This is the best motherboard you can get for this system, and will last years, because the one behind me, this one, if I'm not mistaken, I'm booting it up, it's about 10 years and it's still going good. The only thing that I had issues with were hard drives, but that's understandable. And as you can tell, here is, you see, this is the best motherboard you can buy. BIOS version 1343. And I noticed this is a different BIOS version. Yep, that's crazy. Well, who knows which one's better? I'm not sure how many times this was actually... Yeah, this actually was messed around by different computer experts. But I stopped taking it because I know the first few times they stole like things from my laptop. So after that, I learned myself how to do this stuff. And thank God I have two of them, and this one's the best one. This is the one that lasts over 10 years. Only thing that's died with the motherboard, so I'm shutting it off. But this is with my main system. It doesn't have any viruses no more because I reinstalled Vista 32. I think this has 64-bit. I think, right? No, 32-bit. Yes, 32-bit with maxed out Intel Core T7600 Intel processors, as well as this one. This one is, but this one's 64-bit, true 64-bit. I have the software. I'm gonna have to install it right now and use the SSD to get the feel for it. But this was a successful swap of the motherboard. Let's look at it again. The correct motherboard, and let's go to the motherboard that we put away, which I know is still salvageable. It still has good pieces in there. This is the old motherboard, and look at the heatsink core. It's different completely for the true gamers. I mean, in a way, I think it felt a little bit really luxurious. I'm not gonna lie. When I was using the Ryzen 5, but I didn't use it for any games specifically. But it was a successful swap that we did this. So start installing the software. I'm probably just gonna run Project 5 version 2.0 by Cakewalk. The software I primarily use is my secret weapon, and I'm gonna use Ryzen 5 in this old system. And I already got a second caddy coming in. And I'm gonna have to buy a external disk drive. Yeah, an external DVD, CD, re-recordable, so forth. You know, Blu-ray, whatever. Shell out another $100 for that, so I could load up my software. But I'm gonna take a break. I was just showing you that it was a successful swap. Everything went perfect. And now we gotta install Windows operating system into the solid state drive and see what happens.